Welcome to the Business Spotlight, where today the spotlight is shining on Adam Judd from Discover Digital. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here. To start us off with, can you tell our viewers a little bit more about you and the business, please?
Yes, so my name's Adam Judd. I'm the Managing Director of Discover Digital. We are a digital agency, and what that means in our particular case is we offer a number of services, almost sort of a full service, and it really depends on sort of what the project requires or the client requirements are. So it could be starting early on where somebody comes to us where they've really got a problem, they've got something to solve, they don't know quite the right way to approach it, and they require some sort of digital strategy guidance. So that would be sort of the very beginning of the process. It could be that they've got a clear idea of what they want, but they need perhaps some assistance with the design and architecture of that particular problem. So that could be sort of system architecture or UI UX design. It could be sort of later in the process where they've already got and decided on the architecture, they've got the design, and they want us to build and implement something. So if they come to us with our particular skill sets that we're sort of strongest in, so we're quite strong on the Microsoft stack, as well as some other particular front-end technologies, and we're partners with particular content management systems. So if they came to us with a project to build, again, we could help them, and we also help with, once things have been delivered, support and maintenance. And so we can sort of enter and join the project at any of those points, depending upon where people are in particular.
Yeah. I love that. How long has the business been going for?
So it was founded in '95, so that's pretty
Wow.
prehistoric for digital agencies. And yeah, I joined the company in 2001, so again, quite a while ago.
I was going to say still quite a while. Is running a business something that as a kid you dreamt of? How did that come about?
So rather kind of by accident. So when I started in 2001, I was fresh out of university, done a computer science degree. So I started as a junior developer then. So throughout those it was only until 2014 where I became managing director. So obviously gained a lot of experience in terms of development over those nearly 15 years, and numerous kinds of digital development projects. Obviously, sort of starting in 2001, it was still pretty early on in terms of the development of the internet. Many of the sort of household names that we know in internet service providers didn't even exist. So it was before Facebook. So during that time, I kind of developed a social media platform before Facebook existed. Obviously, it was not as successful. We are involved in sort of a lot of the early insurance products, so kind of the first online offerings of insurance. But yeah, sort of quite a wide range of digital projects that sort of worked on during that period, sort of different e-commerce platforms, whole range of different things.
Yeah. Gosh, yes, that world has massively changed, hasn't it? I work with quite a lot of younger clients, and when I tell them when I started in 2009, social media didn't exist, you almost see them going, "What did you do?" Well, there was other ways of getting business. Interesting. I'm sure we'll get to that. But what have been, especially when you started out in business in 2001, what were some of the surprises about running a business that you maybe hadn't anticipated?
So in 2001, I wasn't running a business, so I was really just a developer working for the founders and directors, along with other members of the team. So it only came around in terms of running the business until 2014, where the founders were looking to retire. They were kind of looking at options to sort of keep the business going, and one of the options was me to sort of take over the business, take over the running of it, which I did. So yeah, it was a bit of a shift in kind of responsibilities, obviously from the background I had, having not sort of really have involvement with a lot of the areas of running a business. Obviously I was kind of involved in the development side of things, but sales, marketing, finance, the whole sort of day-to-day running, payroll, the whole VAT payments, accounting, a wide range of things which had not really sort of any knowledge at all on. So that was a pretty steep learning curve to
can imagine. What was the one that in hindsight that you said actually that one was either the hardest or the biggest surprise?
It was just the amount of things that you needed to have knowledge of. I forgot HR as well. So it's just a huge amount of knowledge, which isn't just, there's not one book you can sort of read up and sort of, okay, that's how you run a business. These are the things. And the things I'm talking about are just the basics of running a business. It's not how to run a business well. These are just the things you need to know just to make sure it sort of ticks over day to day.
Yeah, I get that. What were your key learnings at that stage? If you had to summarize them, like as a person as well, but all of a sudden going from a technician, as we'd call it, into a business owner perspective, or running a business, what were your key learnings?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of difficult to sort of look back on and sort of summarize it, because there was so many things sort of happening sort of simultaneously, because at the same time, the business wasn't doing particularly well at that point in time. So we'd sort of lost some key customers at that point in time as well. So there was a lot of challenges in sort of learning how to do things. At the same time, things weren't going well. Had to let some people go at that point in time because because the way the finances were going. So yeah, it was a pretty chaotic time, sort of the first sort of year or so, and then we've got some sort of lucky breaks in sort of 2015, where we sort of picked up some real key clients that sort of really sort of transformed things. In terms of the most important things, I'd say sort of you need to have people around you who've got sort of some expertise, some knowledge, and also sort of just the kind of the emotional support as well, to sort of back you up and sort of be able to sort of there to support you. Is really important as well. It's a very difficult thing to just do individually.
Yeah. That I definitely would agree with. What have been some of the wins over the years?
So yeah, one of the clients that I mentioned, so it's a FTSE 250 pharmaceutical company. I mean, I say lucky break, but it wasn't entirely luck. We were sort of the right company, the right position with the right expertise. Happened to be the one company that picked up on the phone on a Friday afternoon when they were ringing around for different options to move to. So that was the luck part. But we sort of picked up that client, and over the next sort of 3-4 years after that, I think we did 30 individual projects for them. So 30 different websites, bringing together sort of their entire portfolio, because it's a pharmaceutical company which had grown through acquisition. So it sort of standardized their web presence to sort of put it under our umbrella, look and feel. It was a huge undertaking, but obviously, it started that one phone call, and then that moved on to sort of a single project, and we didn't know quite what it was going to become. But yeah, that was a really big sort of key clients to bring on board.
Yeah, and a great case study, I can imagine, as well, to talk about to potential new clients.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you do well as a company?
I think in terms of the things that we do particularly well, I think the team work very well together. We're a pretty close team in terms of it's not a particularly large team, so that the directors are pretty much involved with the day-to-day activities in terms of development, as well as the client calls. So we're very much aware of sort of what's going on day to day, and the way the team interacts. And supports each other, I think, sort of a key aspect.
Nice. Team, very important. How do you like, what are some key important, I'd almost want to say, what are some key important aspects that you're looking for, attributes that you're looking for in a team member? Now, I'm kind of going to put aside technical skills, because, you know, you'll have certain skill sets that you're looking for. So let's just assume that those are being ticked. But what else is an important fit for your company?
I mean, I think to an extent, we'd also put aside technical skills, because there's so many different types of kind of technology, and it's evolving so quickly. If you're very focused on saying, okay, you need to know this very particular thing, otherwise, no, you're not going to be helpful to us. Well, there's going to be a new particular technical thing that's really important that nobody's ever heard of along very soon. So I think in this role, you can get too hung up on looking at somebody's CV, looking for a very particular technology. And you have to expect, what you need to be looking for people are people that are able to pick up that next thing pretty quickly. That's more important than being very, very specific on the technical history of particular developers. So the ability to sort of not be intimidated by picking up something new is really important. Just the ability to get on with somebody, to sort of feel that ease quite early on in terms of a conversation with someone, that's important. Just someone that kind of enjoys learning, enjoys this type of work is also important.
I can imagine. As a business owner, leader, managing director, what still keeps you awake at night?
Well, in terms of awake at night, sort of in terms of things that are concerns or worries.
Exactly.
So I mean, obviously you always need the sort of the nature of a digital agency is you never have that sort of nice kind of flat upwards kind of slope of work where you know exactly when things are going to happen, when you're going to be busy, when you need to recruit more developers and resources. It's a much more sort of turbulent line, which you can't anticipate, and there's never a sort of Goldilocks zone where you've got the right amount of work. You're either too busy or not busy enough, and sort of finding out ways in which to sort of at least smooth that curve out a little bit is always a challenge.
Always a challenge. To be honest, I don't think that's just digital agencies. That's probably most businesses that I speak to, but I understand in some industries it's a bit more than others, definitely. Big goal for the company? What are you working towards?
So want to obviously continue doing what we're doing well, to sort of continue to grow our customer base. We're kind of always looking internationally as well. So most of our business is coming from North America and Europe. So probably 25% is based in the UK, and sort of want to continue to grow that. We're also looking to develop a new product. So a lot of our learning is in insurance, and we've developed a lot of bespoke insurance applications to requirements over the years, and looking very much to sort of take that learning and to productize it so that we'd be able to sort of much more rapidly roll out. If somebody came to us and said, I've got this great new idea for selling insurance, we'd be able to do that and build that for them in a number of days rather than sort of months that it would traditionally take to develop.
Wow, okay. Some big plans, world domination plans. Love it. So actually looking at that nicely links us into looking forward within your industry. We've already touched upon it. That whole digital space has grown so rapidly. And I would probably say, as I said, I've been in business since 2009. In the beginning part of that, there was probably very little, or at least what it felt like very little. From your perspective, that might have already had quite a bit in there. But in the last 5-6 years, I would probably say that whole technology has definitely moved rapidly. What are you expecting to see over the next 5 years?
I mean, it's really difficult to say. I mean, obviously AI is going to be a huge part of that. Exactly how that works out in our sort of line of work, whether it can replace some of the more one of the aspects that particularly generative AI is particularly good at is code generation. And some of the codes that it can generate is it can solve problems quite quickly. At this point in time, it's not perfect. It often sort of misses sort of key aspects, but you can sort of see even without a huge improvement in the levels of generative AI that we've seen over the past year, you can see that it could change the nature and requirement of developers quite a bit. So maybe sort of some of the lower level developer roles, such as HTML, kind of design and development, kind of that layout aspect of it, there'd be a lesser requirement for that kind of skill set.
Yeah.
Whereas there's still continuous demand for a lot of technology development. Whether that would sort of move things up in terms of experience, and where you'd require sort of more integrators rather than developers, we might see more of that. I'm not saying sort of all of these roles are going to be replaced overnight, but it's certainly going to change the shape of what developers are required in order to implement these kind of projects.
So as a business, how, I was going to say, how long do you leave it? But that's maybe not the right question either. But how long, at what point do you make a decision that something is worthwhile investigating? Because I feel like, especially in the last few years as well, I mean, Threads, and what was the other one called that was only on, this shows my interest in technology, right? The one that was only on Apple, was it Clubhouse or something like that?
Yes, yeah.
They kind of come and go, or at least that's what it feels like. How do you then decide actually this is the one that is going to be here to stay, and especially if something like AI has an impact on your business, on your team? How and when do you make that decision? What do you base that on?
Yes, I mean, it's something that we've always kind of tried to stay in the middle. So we've tried to avoid being right at the cutting edge, because as you say, that you don't know quite where things are going to pan out, and there's a lot of risk associated with being right at the edge. I mean, it might pay off, but chances are it won't. At the same time, if you end up on a technology where you may have really grown sort of a strong skill set in, but you're sort of starting to see the interest in it wane and things have moved on, again, that's a danger. If you're in the laggard part of the kind of the curve, that's going to be dangerous as well, because that's definitely going to go away at some point. So you really want to sort of stay in the middle. You want to stay relevant. You want to keep on the lookout for where things are shifting, and make sure that when you sort of see that there's something technology coming that sort of everyone seems to be settling that this is sort of the right way to go, at that point I'd suggest that it's worth investing in.
So is that the stage where you then go, right, okay, this becomes an opportunity for the business, I guess? What kind of challenges are you then potentially still seeing over the next couple of years?
Well, yeah, as well as the sort of the shifting landscape of different technologies and how they're used. Again, sort of just the whole sort of economy as well. You don't know quite where sort of how much investment is going to go into technology. I mean, there's a huge amount of challenges, but but making sure sort of you're aligned with the right skill set that people are looking for, with the skill set that will be required. That's always a challenge.
And because you've already talked about some of the plans that you have for the business, I would like to think that you have a business plan or an action plan in place that helps you achieve that. How often do you guys review it?
I mean, it's something, it's something that we're continuously working on. So, yeah, we have the plan, but we're in the early stages of this product. But we just find that the more conversations you have with client or prospects, the more conversations you have with vendors, and just your knowledge of what the market is looking for, where things are going, talking and finding out more about competitors and what they're offering. You just that all of that understanding, if you're sort of continuously doing it, is going to continuously sort of change the direction subtly over time about where you're heading.
Yeah. So
and I think having a big plan that's kind of written in stone is just not going to work. It needs to be something that's continuously adapted. Yeah.
It's good to have a plan, but it's good to review it quite regularly, is what you're saying there.
Yes.
That's fine. That speaks to my heart. That's okay. So talk me through your inspiration. Who do you take your inspiration from?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that really. I mean, I don't have a.
Okay.
I don't have a bust of Winston Churchill sort of sat on my desk. But yes, I mean, it's always difficult to sort of the issue of kind of heroes or aspirations is people to aspire to is we're all human. That there's always some aspects that of every person that's not perfect. So obviously you have to sort of take the parts that you're going to get some value and inspiration and guidance from.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not able to sort of pick somebody out off the top of my head.
No bust of Winston Churchill. I love that one. I kind of feel like I could turn that into some merchandise somehow. Must have a look and work that out. See what we can do with that. Absolutely love that. We've already talked a little bit about the business and where you're looking to go in the next 5 years as a business. But what do you, Adam? What do you still have on your bucket list? What do you still have as achievements on your sort of life plan? I guess is my next question.
Yeah, I mean, having worked in sort of like effectively a service provider where a client will come to us with a problem and we'd solve that problem for them. Having done that for 20 years, to be able to sort of launch a product, that's sort of quite a different approach, because it's not taking somebody's requirements and implementing it. It's defining our own requirements and implementing it, and making that into a success. I think that would certainly be a really big achievement.
How will you celebrate when that happens?
I mean, that's the thing we've got kind of goals and celebrations, is you never quite know when you've got to the point that this is a success, and you're always reluctant to celebrate too much, because there's always more to achieve, and things might change. So, but yeah, certainly getting the first client is always a big milestone, as well as the next 10, 100 clients. I mean, there's always a milestone to be celebrated.
Which is the point, right? It's good, because that means there's lots of celebrations to be had, and life needs to be fun as well. I mean, business can be really tough. And I think too often business owners don't celebrate enough the wins that they do have. And even if they're little ones here and there, they don't get celebrated enough.
Mm-hmm.
And we only look at all the bad stuff and the things that didn't go right, instead of celebrating the wins that you did have. So maybe time for an updated version of your plan with some more wins on there.
Yeah, I think you're right.
There you go. If you had the opportunity to go back to 18-year-old Adam and give him one piece of advice, what would that be?
Yeah, I mean, you picked the right subject, and in terms of because at the time it wasn't sort of predefined that sort of computing would be such an industry that took off in quite the way it did, or become quite so relevant and important as it has. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe perhaps to sort of start thinking about and learning about running a business perhaps a bit earlier on,
Okay.
rather than sort of kind of just focusing entirely on the subject and the kind of the vocational aspects of the career.
Yeah.
Perhaps sort of look a bit sort of wider than than just the course and subject. And
yeah, and I think the schooling system, I've had a few people on who are running tutoring companies, etc. We've had conversations around the schooling system, and it's still very much geared towards go and get a job, not go and get a business. Therefore, a lot of as I already said, I work with a lot of younger business owners. They come out of university, start a business straight away, but actually we've never been taught how to run a business.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Room for improvement on that one, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We'll leave that one there. For anybody watching this that has just started a business or is thinking about starting a business, what would your top 2 tips be for them? What are the 2 things that they have to do or be aware of?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure most people answer it the same way, but I think you need a mentor,
Okay.
someone that's done this before, either started their business themselves or currently running a business. I think it's important, and you can get that from a few different places. It doesn't need to be, obviously, it's, can be a family friend or someone but other good sources are accountants or business coaches.
Yeah.
There are sort of other sources out there if someone's not immediately available to mind. Having or perhaps another source is searching out for communities and partner networks that are in a similar sort of area to yourself, and sort of making friends with competitors, or at least people who are in sort of the same space as yourself.
Yeah, because it's very different, isn't it? Having friends who are also business owners, you end up having different conversations than those friends who aren't. Mm-hmm. So surrounding yourself with the right people. So that's one. Anything else? What's your second tip?
Yeah, I mean, just stay focused on sort of education and continuous learning. And I mean, you can't read every business book there is out there, but find one that sort of resonates with you. Or there's obviously lots on YouTube as well, and other channels. And yeah, just continue that learning journey. Whether that's on business or on your particular area that that your business is based in, but just the whole learning aspect can't stop. It just has to keep going.
That I would agree with. What business book have you read that has had the biggest impact, or the one that just you've learned the most from, or the one that you refer to the most? What's your favorite? So for me, that's like asking which one of your children is your favorite. But what's your favorite business book?
I mean, there's a few that I've got some inspiration from. I find Atomic Habits. I know it's not strictly business, but
That's all right. Yeah, that's good.
It's something that sort of goes back to sort of that continuous change, or just small things that sort of incrementally sort of build up to a larger change is really important.
Yeah, that you can't see it, but that's also on my shelf. I recommend that all the time. So absolutely. Another one that you love?
You're putting me on the spot now.
Yes, that's correct. Sorry. Else we'll quite happily leave it at Atomic Habits. I could talk about James Clear for a long time. Don't worry, Adam.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. Absolutely love that. Obviously, at time of recording, give our viewers maybe one thing that they need to be aware of when it comes to your industry, that right now they should be doing or should be knowing, or that's something that's coming that they have to be aware of. Give them one very practical tip.
Well, I mean, if you're a sort of organization looking to digitally transform, I'd say that it can be quite overwhelming, because just the amount of challenges a lot of businesses have got, the amount of options that they've got with digital platforms and tools to try and solve those challenges, with widely different requirements in terms of costs and budgets, and also internal skill sets that are required to sort of utilize these tools, it can be pretty overwhelming. And if you can work with a partner that's seen a lot of these kind of problems before and has got some recommendations and can go through those problems and prioritize what are those biggest problems, and then sort of give some options to solving those problems, I think can really help.
Absolutely love that one. I think that's a really great one to end our conversation on. It's a really good practical tip. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for your time, Adam. There's some really fantastic learnings in there for anybody starting out in business, but equally anybody watching this will have picked up something interesting out of this conversation, I have no doubt. The link to connect up with Adam and his business is in the comment section below, so please go and do that, and also let us know how much you've enjoyed this interview and what you've learned from this, because I always love finding out what people are picking up from these conversations. Thank you, Adam, for being here, and thank you for watching the Business Spotlight. Until next time.